So really quickly, I wanted to talk about the plums in this composition. I have a bunch of colors here, and I just kind of wanted to go over with some of the things that you may want to work on. Again, I've got a good chunk of time. I'm going to be sitting here painting for a while, so that's why I have so much. Again, my recommendation is that you probably cut your palette paper in half. I definitely could have put this stuff closer together. I just kind of got a little out of control here. But I wanted to go over. So I have just some plain blue over here. I have some blue mixed with a smaller amount of red to kind of create one of the purpley tones. I have some white. I have some red mixed with some white and brown. I have some red mixed with blue, where the blue is a smaller amount. You can kind of see it gives this sort of rusty colored. I do have a little bit of black here, which I will probably use sparingly. I have some brown. I have two piles of red, and again, sometimes I will grab a little bit extra and kind of mix. Over here, I have some blue and some red and some brown mixed together to create more of that rich, deep, dark purpley tone. I have some blue and some white and some red mixed over here for that lighter, more blue lavender tone, and then I have some red and some blue mixed over here, where I just have a larger amount of red and a smaller amount of blue. Again, as you're working, you will see what you need in your composition. So this is just where I'm starting with my mixing. So the first thing I am going to recommend that you do is kind of get a little bit of a wash down, and I'm going to start with a red undertone here, not a straight red. I think I'm going to go more with this, the red with a little bit of blue mixed in. And remember, I'm going to start with a wash, so I want a nicely damp brush, and I'm on my palette paper. I know you guys can't see it. I am kind of thinning out this color right here with a little bit of water so that I can start to lay in my colors. And I'm going to move my palette paper so that I don't accidentally stick my entire arm into it. So again, I'm just kind of getting a wash down. I'm still looking at where my colors are. I have my reference photo on my computer so that I'm looking at it as I'm painting. Again, we always look at our reference while we are painting. Again, not spending a ton of time on this, but I want to know where certain things are falling. Paying attention to my edges and some of my lines. So now I can see in the next part of this plum over here, we do kind of move into that more blue tone. So I am grabbing some of that blue, that sort of lavendery blue color, and I'm gonna get that down. Still have a little bit of that red and water on my brush, and I'm okay with that, because remember, this is early on, this is washing, just so we know where things fall. Now the thing that's going to be different for this compared to our peaches is that plums have a smooth skin, so we're not going to be doing any of that stippling. So the amount of texture here is really going to be minimal. We really are going for more of that smooth look. It's okay if these two start to touch, because they're going to do that eventually. And then I'm going to grab some of the brown and start to work that in up here. Now, one of the things that we want to be careful with is sometimes shadows, especially if we're looking at a printed copy, will look black, and that has to do with the way the ink is absorbed by the paper. And you may actually be dealing more with a super dark brown and blue shadow. So that's just something to keep in mind as we're working. You may even find that you want to mix a little brown and black together to create a super dark brown. So something along those lines to help figure out where your shadowy spots are going to be. Again, and I'm just roughing things in right now. This actually comes down a bit further on this part here. And part of the reason that we do this in particular is that we have a lot of colors that are laid on top of one another. So if you look closely at the picture, if you really blow it up on your computer, you can see that this is, you know, there are sections of color laying on top of other color. So that's a pretty good start. And again, in an ideal world, we're going to let this kind of dry so that we aren't, you know, trying to paint on top. I am going to go ahead and start on this one over here. So again, I'm going back to that red with just a little bit of blue mixed in, because that is the color that's happening over here. Really trying to pay attention to my edges and not knock the camera. Yesterday when I was painting, I kept smacking into that thing. I could not stop doing it. So again, always looking at my reference photo. As I am getting my paint down. You know, these are just our first initial washes. Okay, and then in the next section, I can see that it is more of that blue tone, but that's almost on top. So I'm just gonna give a little bit here. Still trying to show that there is a little bit of a color transition. And then it almost has like this, that super dark red purple up here. Even darker than that. I think I need maybe a little bit of dark brown. And I'm talking like this to kind of get you guys in the idea of where my thought process is as I am putting my color down. I don't even think that's intense enough. I think I could do it even more intense. And again, I'm going to come back in here as this dries and fill in more color and smooth out those transitions. I know that's reading really very lavender on my screen. And I'm gonna move that up with a little brown here, because I think it needs it. Now the thing we have to remember about brown is that brown has a, you know, red in it. So like when you add that to some of that blue, that more lavendery purpley blue, you are going to be intensifying some of that red undertone, which is exactly what you want in a lot of these cases. I'm actually gonna spin this, and I know that might look a little weird for you guys right now, but I see that there's a edge here that I'm gonna try to build in. think I should wait and do that till a little later. Okay, so I'm gonna swing this back